everybody, it is Calxiyn here, and I'm here with Hunter, and we're gonna talk about the new RWBY episode, and that made us it's a really exciting episode, guys. Like, it is. It's super, super exciting.
I was legitimately shaking through certain aspects
I know.
of it.
It was good. Alright, so let's talk about it. We're gonna do this in a chill manner.
As relaxed as we can be.
Relaxed
we'll be a
as
lot
we
more
can.
relaxed now than when we were watching the video.
Yeah. Which means I'm gonna go over everything in fine detail.
Oh, Lord.
Because someone made the point of saying that Hunter always talks over me, and they're right. Anyway.
I love how the video that they said that on was the video I actively tried not to do that.
Anyway. Okay, so episode opens, and it's Farm Boy, and there's bloodstains in his sink. That was a very interesting detail of Farm Boy's, like, first and last,
It wasn't a lot of blood either.
You know.
It looked like someone had blood on their hands, pressed it against.
Yeah, it looks
the
like he
rim.
killed somebody, and then he washed his hands.
Maybe it could literally just be rust, but
Probably.
Also
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It looked more red than it did rusty.
Also, it is a boy because we actually hear his voice.
I mean, just because his voice, like, we know that he's biologically a boy. You know what I mean? I don't want to assume things. No, it's because
you're getting tumblery.
It's the people. Excuse me. It's a thing that a lot of people are saying that the boy is Tip disguised, like Tip, who was Ozma in disguise, and that was the next successor to Ozpin in the Wizard of Oz. Like, that's who people think that the Farm Boy is supposed to be in relation to, and so Farm Boy might actually be Farm Girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but we don't know that as of yet.
But so far, we think at least that it might be different because, as we see,
this is what I meant by talking over.
Yeah.
I wasn't done explaining
I'm
what happened
not talking
yet.
over. I'm just furthering the conversation.
He looked at himself like he didn't know whose body he was in. Like, he looked at himself like he didn't know what was going on. Yeah, would you say that? Like, he was looking, he was touching his hair, and he was touching his body like he didn't know.
It's almost like people do that in front of mirrors.
No, but, like, he didn't, it's like it was foreign to him. Maybe. And then we hear, "Hello, I'm Professor Ozpin," and Hunter and I were like, excuse me?
No, we were not that put together. I think we both squealed.
So so Ozpin is either in the mirror, which I think would be interesting, or he's in the boy, like possessing the boy.
Just the phrase "Ozpin is in the boy" can be a little troublesome.
Not for your fanfics, guys. Like, keeping it real. All right. So Ozpin is either, trapped in the mirror, or he's trapped in the body of the boy. Now, here's where things get weird. We think, I mean, I don't know if Hunter thinks this, but I think this is where we're both going. We think that it might be
young Ozpin.
Yeah, so Ozpin went back in time and possessed himself.
Something odd like that, because you said his name was Oscar, which was the younger version's name of...
Well, not the younger version. Hold on a minute, Hunter. You don't know anything about the Wizard of
Oz. I'm just saying what you said, man.
So, okay.
Reiterating.
So somebody calls him off screen, and we're guessing it's his mom or something, right? The boy's mom. And she calls him Oscar, and so that is the name of Oscar Diggs in Wizard of Oz. Like, that is the wizard's true name, is Oscar. And so... when I feel like that stuff is intentional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure that's just Ozpin as a kid and maybe not Ozma, like, or Tip, or like who the next successor of Ozpin. I'm pretty sure that Ozpin went back in time, and that's just him.
I'm just gonna go with the less anime, maybe more sensible, is that it could just be a completely new character that has some sort of relation to
But
Ozpin.
Why would they name him Oscar if they weren't trying to make the reference?
Because I guess they just made the reference, but maybe they weren't making the reference so literal. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that. It's just a possibility that you need to entertain.
Well, I'm not going to entertain that because it's wrong. Anyway, so I'm pretty sure that Ozpin is just... He either went back in time and is trying to talk to him, or, like, was in the room and maybe we didn't see him. Like, something weird happened. Because obviously little little Oscar wouldn't recognize the name Ozpin, right? Because he called himself that later as, like, the Wizard of Oz, you know what I mean? So, as far as possibilities go, my Wizard of Oz knowledge only comes from two places. Wicked, the life and times of the Wicked Witch of the West, as well as, like, various other sources of media where it's not the original. I know nothing about the original Wizard of Oz story outside what I've researched to see comparisons to Wicked. So I don't really know the backstory of the wizard that well, because it might be different from story to story. So if somebody, like, more informed than I would like to tell me, like, if this, oh, but this happened in the book, and this character was also named Oscar, you know what I mean? Like, if someone can say, no, it's not, like, Little Ozpin, it's somebody else, or something like that, that would be good if somebody could inform us on that. That information would be nice. Just because I think, okay, if Hunter's right, maybe it's a reference to something else. Like, it might be that in the book, like, the wizard's name wasn't Oscar Diggs. Like, maybe it was just in, like, the movie Wizard of Oz. I don't know. Somebody needs to tell me. Because there might be another explanation for it that we aren't seeing.
I think one of the happiest days of my life is whenever, if all of your headstrong or strongly held wicked fan theories all crumble before your eyes.
Anyway, so enough about baby Oscar. Now we see Yang, and Yang is having a nightmare where she is in the middle of a field. It doesn't even look like she's in the building where she...
No, it starts out as a field, then it goes to the building where she was fighting Adam at the end of season 3.
Basically.
And then she tries to fight Adam,
and then she
fails.
tries to punch him, and it doesn't work, and, like, then she had both arms, but then she didn't, and then there was a nub, and, like, it was a very confusing dream, but Adam had this smile on his face that was kind of like Nora's, like, scary smile, if that makes sense. Like, it looked almost identical, and I don't know if that's just an animation thing or not. Like, obviously, I'm not like, guys, Adam is secretly Nora. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Knowing you, I'm surprised that isn't what you're saying.
They look so similar that I wonder if... Because Adam never smiled like that, so it might be just Yang inserting what she thinks is, like, a crazy expression, but really it did look like the animation team was just like, oh, we have a creepy smile already, Nora made it, and kind of just stuck it on his face. Not to diss the animation team or anything, that's just how it looked like to me. Hunter, you saw Adam's, like, scary smile. Did you kind of get that vibe from it too? Like, it just didn't belong to him.
I mean, I got
Also, I'm gonna die! Okay, sorry. It's hard to play RWBY G. I know somebody said that they didn't want us playing and recording at the same time because of my noises from my keyboard, but we didn't have time to do that today. So anyway, so what do you think about his little smile nonsense?
You didn't
see it?
I really don't
notice?
think what I see that is I think is probably more pushing home the post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, it's
concept.
Just because Adam never looked like he enjoyed slicing through Yang. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have a smile, at least not that I remember.
He was still pretty creepy about it.
Yeah. But he didn't have, like, that, like, Joker smile that he had in Yang's flashback. So maybe she's making him out to be, like, not that he wasn't malicious, but just, like, a little bit more malicious. But yeah, Adam looks great in the animated. Oh my gosh, I have a thing for Adam. Hunter does not have a thing for Adam.
I'm just saying that, like, you have such a giant crush on Adam. I just accept that you're probably now more likely to be involved in an abusive relationship because you like Adam.
Okay, so this YouTuber called Eruption Fang did this video on why
God.
Why Adam and, like, Mercury are so appealing because of the bad boy thing. Like, that you can try to save them and stuff like that. And that's why Adam appeals to me. Adam appeals to me strongly.
Well, I'm just saying. So
anyway,
if someone were to cut your arm off, you'll be like, oh, he's so romantic.
That's a whole different kind of video. So then Yang
I don't know if I
want
to be around for that video.
Yang wakes up and she goes downstairs. And I heard vague voices talking, and I'm like, oh, Hunter, it's Port. He was like, what? You know, like,
no. What are you talking about?
And then we saw him, and you were like, oh, it's Port.
What? No. I'm not that contrary. Like, no. I saw Port, and I saw him.
Because I said, oh, that's Port. And you just kind of looked at me like, okay, Cal, like, sure.
No,
sure it is.
What do you mean? I just couldn't, like, because I was trying to say Oobleck, but I couldn't think of Oobleck's name. Because that's who I was focusing on. What is up with you?
No, it's just because, like, we didn't see him on screen first. And so I was like, oh, that sounds like Port, that vague talking in the background.
I don't remember doing this.
Well, that's because you don't want to admit it, Hunter.
You just have your head up your ass.
No, it's just, I don't know, I just heard him and I'm like, oh, that sounds like Port. And then Port and Oobleck just magically appeared and I was like, alright.
Port, Tai Yang, and Oobleck are wasted.
They were all talking about this story where Crow wore a skirt to school because he had never worn a uniform before, and Tai tricked him into wearing the skirt and told him it was a kilt or something. And yeah, they were basically all shit-faced.
I mean, they didn't show him drinking.
They didn't show them drinking, but you could tell that
they were a little too giggly.
They were too giggly to be. Yeah, so Oobleck and Port must be pretty old then, because they taught.
No, they were probably not. They weren't teaching them. They were probably just at school at the same time. Yeah.
That would be interesting to have them like on a team.
Although, I mean, you could assume. I mean, you assume Oobleck and Port were on the same team.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know about.
I don't know if they were, because he said he was laughing so hard he had to step out of the class, and that doesn't sound like what a student would do. That sounds like kind of like what a teacher would do, like step out of the classroom for a minute.
I don't think Port.
You know what I mean? Like just how he talked about it, it sounded like he was a teacher and he didn't want to laugh. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess we don't really know. So. We don't know how old they are, and so they could have been students or they could have been teachers, I guess. But Ozpin was definitely the professor because Ozpin was helping them work on their landing strategy, apparently. But see, that's interesting because Ozpin seemed to help them prepare for the test, like for the landing strategy bullshit, but he didn't help the other guys, so Ozpin just got a bit more, like, laxed in his old age, I think. So that was, like, the first time that we saw Yang smile. Was her
yeah, she didn't look quite as depressed this time.
Was her listening to the skirt story, and that was pretty funny. Hunter, can you flip the page? My hands are busy, I'm fighting the Grim. Okay. So he says minstrel wasn't built in a day, and I feel like that's a quote from something.
No, that's Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I love it. What's the point in writing that down?
It's a nice, like, real world to story contrast, that's all. Because I thought it was a China, reference. But yeah, you're right, it's Rome wasn't built in a day. But they equate Rome with minstrel, and then minstrel also has some Greek and Rome-inspired, like, architecture as well. Like, it looks like they had someone that kind of looked like a Greek performer and all that stuff, so that's kind of interesting that they use that line. That's all. I just thought it was cool, Hunter. I just thought it was cool.
Anyways.
So we kind of got a bit of backstory on Tai. I don't know when we got it, because I didn't write down what it was. What was the backstory on Tai again?
What do you mean the backstory on Tai?
I wrote Tai backstory. What does that mean?
I think you may just be referring to the kilt story. These are your weird ass notes,
I know.
Right?
They're my notes. I don't remember. I think they did talk about how Tai was in school a little bit.
I mean, yeah, they were all these were all school stories.
Yeah.
And then they mentioned the Bronwyn
clan. And then they
clan.
mentioned Raven, which was interesting. So Raven and Crow are twins.
Yes.
And I don't know if we knew that before. I don't think we did. Did we?
Yeah.
Was it confirmed somewhere else? Because that wasn't brought up in the...
No, because Crow talks about Raven being her sister. And they're also uncles.
Twin sister, right?
Oh, twin?
Yeah, they said that they were twins. That wasn't brought up. We knew they were related, but we didn't know if there was an age difference between them.
I don't know. I guess, I don't know, I guess...
So
I guess,
was it
no,
confirmed
no,
them being twins before?
No, because I've heard them be twins before, so it must have been confirmed in some...
Or people just guessed, which is entirely possible.
Which, I mean, is completely different to what you do constantly.
Which is, theorize?
Guess. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because other people guess and you theorize. It's a big difference.
Yeah. As far as, like... I don't know what the Tai Yang backstory nonsense means, but they did talk about how he, like, despite Raven being, like, weird, he, like, still fell in love with her, and he kind of got pissy about that. And then Port was like, she's almost, like, a young woman. She can know about these things.
Referring to Yang, and then Yang got pissy, and you think it's going to break out into fight, and then they start laughing, and Yang goes upstairs, and it was a really bizarre way to end the scene.
It was just, I don't know, it was kind of weird. But, like... I think that was interesting because RWBY hasn't really dealt with, like, you know, sex or anything because it's an anime, like it's a.
Because those are never sexually charged.
I don't want to say like it's a kids show, but like they weren't old enough. Like the characters weren't old enough to go into that. You know what I mean? And so
it's not like they were talking about fucking. It's just that
but like
it's her absentee mother. I'm certain that's a wound.
But they said, oh, like, that didn't stop old Tai, like, and it never really says what it stopped Tai from doing. That's the thing, is that it sounded like, that never stopped Tai from fucking her, which is why they were like, hey, that's my daughter's right here, and that's why Port had to say, look, she's a young woman, she can know about these things.
I wonder if Port Nublik ever sat Tai Yang down and being like, don't date Raven, she's crazy.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's why I think they were trying to, like, it was an innuendo-ous kind of thing, right?
Innuendo-ous?
Innuendo-ous.
That's a word.
It is. But you know what I mean, right? Like, it just sounded like that's what they were referring to. Like, that didn't stop Tai.
Anyways, so then that happens, and then they go up.
Whoa! You're missing, like, the best part of that entire scene.
Calm down. What am I missing?
So, they start getting into a fight.
Why do you give a shit about Rome burning when you see Raven later in the episode, and you're like, no, that was whatever. But did you see Minstrel? Like, no. That's not what we focus on.
I like how Hunter just dropped, like, everything that ever existed on my desk.
I knocked over Asuna.
On the ground.
I knocked over Asuna.
The part which I'm saying Hunter was missing is that Tai is like, Tai says something, and they're basically fighting, and Yang's like, I'm mature enough now. Like, I've been through combat. I can know about stuff like that, or whatever she said. And Tai's like, starts making fun of her about how she won't be able to last out there and all of these things. And then he's like, wow, you must have lost some brain cells along with your arm. And I was like, oh my god, like, I was like, oh my god. Like, I was like, oh, they tricked us. I thought Tai was a nice dad. He's not so nice anymore. And I was like, this is why Raven left you. But then Yang started laughing, and I was like, oh my god. My mouth was, like, open when that happened. Like, my mouth was hanging open, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, you know, Hunter? Hunter, you're not commenting on this at all, and I wonder why.
Well, I mean, because I want to get to the good shit, man.
That is the good shit. That was like
one of the
best parts of the episode.
But because that happens, and then they just start laughing, and it was so goddamn weird.
It was weird, but
it was weird and non-sequitur. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's not that I don't like it. It's just it's so weird. It's nice. It's refreshing.
She can joke about it, like, you know what I mean, and like, I don't know. She just has this relationship with her father.
But it's like.
And meanwhile, Crow and Oobleck are like. Paralyzed in fear. Port and Oobleck, that's what I just said.
You said Crow and Oobleck.
No, I said Port and Oobleck.
You said Crow.
No, I didn't.
You just said you...
Hunter, we can go back in the footage and I'll check.
Motherfucker, you said Crow.
I didn't. I said Port and Oobleck.
No, you said Crow.
Do you want to check right now?
Damn right I do.
Okay, we're gonna check right now. We'll be right back.
You said Crow, damn it. You said Crow. Get your head out of your ass, because you said Crow.
Hunter's hitting me.
Well, no more than you hit me on a regular basis. Anyway,
and so then we go to a scene with RWBY, and they're cute,
well,
and
actually,
they're going in with
there's one more thing, is that they go outside, and Crow,
yeah.
They talk about how Glinda's trying to rebuild Beacon
school.
and that Port and Oobleck and all that stuff, and they talk about her arm, and at the very end of that
They
scene...
mentioned RWBY.
Yeah, they mentioned RWBY. If Ty's going to go after RWBY, I said Ty says no, he's not going to. And then it goes from that to Yang looking at the arm on her dresser, and then it cuts to RWBY, where we see RWBY, Ren...
Was all that information, like, really important?
Oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't important, but Rome, that was important.
Anyways, so we see RWBY, and RWBY can't pronounce the word of the city, and so...
I love how you're giving her shit for that, and then...
And so, Ren helps her, and, like, it's a cute little scene where, you know, we've had our ups and downs, guys. Like, a whole village died in front of us, but you know what? We're all here together. That's basically
genocide, smenocide, we're still here.
That's basically what Jean says. And then Nora says something about there not being a lot of Grimm, and they must be lucky, and then we find out that Crow killed them all, because Crow was in the area, and he's just chilling. It
shows, like, I thought it was going to be Tyrion, you thought it was going to be Crow, you were right, because it has a bit of a build-up, then you see Crow's sword.
It's because Rooster Teeth released that clip this morning, and while I was in the car, I saw it. Hunter was so amazed. He was like, "Oh my God, Cal, you were right." I was like, Anyway.
You're a liar.
So this looks like it's gonna be the town, like the town that they get to looks like the town. It looks more like the town where Tyrion and RWBY are squaring off in the trailer.
Although to be fair, we said that about the last two towns, so it's entirely wrong. We may be right.
No,
we may be wrong with this one.
This one looks more like it, like the
I hope it is. I want to see
buildings and stuff. And like, remember the shot that they had of RWBY? She was in the inn. And then Crow was looking at her. Like, that space between the buildings looked like the same...
But before that, you see a raven. And then for the first time, when you see a bird, and you're like, it's Raven. We think we were right. Because Crow looks up, sees the bird, it's like, all right, you go ahead. And then... later on...
You didn't let me finish about my building
go
thing.
Ahead.
Okay, and so, like, the space between the buildings looks, like, similar to the space where they're fighting. Like, because they go past a couple buildings and then they go in a main square. But that could just be me being like, oh my God, there's two buildings here and they gave us this shot. This is where they're gonna fight. Anyway, I think they were fighting. They might have been fighting in, like, they were definitely fighting in the open after, but just the build up to that. And the architecture does look the same, because in the last two towns, they didn't have that much stone, and there was a lot of stone on the buildings here, and so that was kind of what I used to gauge that. Okay, so then the woman upstairs with the red eyes buys Crow a drink, and then the waitress girl flirts with him, and like
you're like it's gonna be Raven, and then you were like, it could be someone else with red eyes, but no, it's straight up Raven.
I mean, it could have been Emerald. Emerald has red eyes.
I guess
but it was
true.
Raven.
I didn't consider that, but yeah.
Also, Crow, like, really wanted to fuck the waitress. Raven looks tired when we see her. Like, she looks really tired. She has this thing on her head. And I don't know if you noticed, but it's, like, kind of like a... I don't want to say it's a doily, but it's some kind of fabric on her head that has a design on it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And so that might be the tribe that she's a part of, because later, if I want to skip ahead in my notes, we find out that she is part of a tribe where she grew up with Crow.
And though it was also the tribe that attacked the village.
That attacked Xion. At least that's how it sounded.
So the possibility of Nora and Ren once being part of that maybe lessens at this point?
There was a scene where Raven was supposed to fight Pyrrha, Ren, and Jean.
Yeah, Team Juniper, they got rid of that.
But they got rid of that scene. And if you guys remember...
that was supposed to happen at the beginning of Season 3, although they scrapped it for different purposes.
Yeah, but if you guys remember that kind of thing, is that one time Juniper was going to a village to save a village or something, like for instead of Mountain Glen, where we happen to be at right now in the game. But if you guys remember that, they were supposed to fight her there, so I wonder if that was why. Is because she was ransacking the town, like that would have given us a hint that she was a part of the tribe. Do you agree with that? Do you think that that's a...
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because you know what I'm saying, right? That, oh God, I hate it when this freaking game shakes the screen like this. Vertigo nonsense. But yeah, I feel like that maybe that's why the scene that's why they had to fight Raven, because they were in the village and they would need to protect it. And so you know, the scene got scrapped and there wasn't any need for it anymore because they didn't end up going to that village, right? And so I wonder if they'll bring that back again and if Raven will have to fight Juniper. Because I don't think that RWBY would recognize her, right? Because RWBY never saw Raven. I don't think she even saw a picture of Raven. Like, maybe, but... that would be interesting if that's why, like, they saved the fight until now and then had RWBY instead of Pyrrha, obviously. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Also, she has nice, like, dragon gauntlets. Like, on her arm, she has these pointy dragon things.
Like scales.
Like scales.
Yeah, she was just cool. And you get to hear her talk more. It's like,
yeah,
it's
her
great.
Talking is great because her dialogue with Crow was very interesting.
And she has, like, bags under her eyes. She's just awesome.
Yeah, she
I fell in love immediately.
Tired. Yang is a touchy subject for her.
Yeah, she keeps on...
And it seems like...
She seems more loyal to her clan than she does to her family.
Well, I mean,
or like
her clan is her family,
yeah,
though.
but like her biological family with Tai Yang.
I think that we know why Raven left now to an extent. She left to go help her tribe, but for what reason they needed it, we don't really understand yet.
Because they wanted to find the
Well, I don't think the tribe wanted to
relic?
find it. But she asked if Salem had it yet, and we guessed it was the relic. Then literally a couple seconds later, they say it was the relic. So Raven is working with Crow to some extent, like they're
because she's not really like she's not with Ozpin. She isn't with Salem. She's sort of a third party.
She isn't on.
She's a free
Crow's
agent.
team,
no.
But it seemed like in the past she was because they reference her. We need to work together again, all of us, and so that could be Crow, Ozpin, Galinda, like everyone, or that could be a reference to Tai. Everyone is in Tai, Raven, and Crow, like they did back in the olden days, sort of, you know what I mean? But I think that, yeah, she left her family to go help the tribe, but we don't know why the tribe's in danger, other than maybe the Grimm started to increase again, right? And it would kind of make sense for her to leave, because Patch is safe, right? Like, I'm sure she didn't just, like, fuck off and not care about Tai at all.
I mean, to an extent, she kind of did.
I know. But what I'm saying is that maybe she figured, well, Yang and Tai are going to be fine, right? Because they're in a safe area, but my tribe needs me because they are nomadic, like they move around. So I think that getting that information on Raven made me, like, feel for her a little bit, because I feel like, you know, Tai may not have understood. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you made Paint her a little more sympathetic than she is.
I mean, we don't know if she is or not. That's the thing.
I don't get that vibe, really.
Is that, like...
I feel like something maybe happened, or maybe she was never entirely invested in Yang and Tai Yang to begin with.
I don't know. I don't want to paint her as that malicious. That's the thing. Is that
well, the thing is that looking at her, she really... because she doesn't really care about Yang. She doesn't really care about the survival of Crow and Beacon and all these people.
Well, she does. Crow actually says something interesting. He doesn't know where the Spring Maiden is, and if he doesn't find her, they're all gonna die. And then that is literally what he said.
And then Raven said, "What version of we are you talking like about? Royal we or like all of them?" So the suggestion is she really doesn't care if Crow or Yang or any of them really survive.
But she says that because earlier Crow says, "Which we are you talking about?" Like who's she loyal to? Like Salem, sort of Salem's faction. Like the tribe or him, right?
Not really.
Yeah. When he says, "And which we are you talking about?" or whatever, that seemed to reference the bad guys or the good guys.
Raven said that.
No, but she said it again because he said it the first time. Like that was what I liked about that line is that Crow said it and she threw his own words words against him.
I forgot about that first way then.
I don't remember what Crow was referencing exactly when he said that, but I liked it because I thought it was a nice callback to the line earlier. Like, I like literary devices like that.
Anyway.
Hunter size. But that's why I think their interaction was so interesting because Raven does not seem to be working for Salem. Like, she might be spying on Salem in some way, but she isn't working for
because she mentions how she told Crow about the fall of Beacon and that Ozpin would fail. So she's kind of like the canary in the coal mine at some point.
I think that actually, this is just an idea I got now, but maybe that Raven is the informant and minstrel that, Salem was talking about. Like, obviously we know that she's kind of been playing double agent, but she's not aligned with Salem. She's not aligned with Crow. She's aligned with her tribe in her own best interest. Mm-hmm. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah.
Because I think the thing is that, it seemed, at least to me, that, yeah, she is playing double agent because she did know about all that stuff somehow. She's feeding information back to them if she is the informant they were talking about, but she also doesn't give a shit about Salem, you know what I mean? Like, all she cares about is her and her stuff. Also, the light went out when someone said something about everybody dying, and then the light just poofed, which was a little bit creepy.
They were real subtle about that.
So Raven is working with Crow to some extent, but they're not working, like, closely with each other because, like, obviously she told him about all the stuff that was gonna happen, and he, like, also wasn't, like, totally surprised to see her, and she was kind of like, oh, you know, can't a girl just check in with her family? And he was like, you have a skewed sense of family, bitch. You know what I mean? I think he's still salty about her not helping Yang. And she had a really odd expression when she brought up that she did save Yang. Once. And then Crow's like, once! You saved her once! So, like, you know.
Mother of the year!
Yeah. Yeah, I said, which are we are we referring to? Like, the double play on that was good. And, yeah, I think that's all that my notes go. Other important things in the last sort of little bit, Yang is wearing her metal arm, which I thought was interesting.
So basically,
it cuts from them.
Raven,
basically.
no, it doesn't really cut. Raven exits using her little teleporter.
Oh yeah, and then the bar waitress sees her.
Is terrified.
And Crow's just like, you better make that a double. I don't understand what's so dangerous about Raven though, because Crow says before that she has a dangerous view of the world. And I don't get that. Like, I wasn't getting that vibe.
Well, I think she has a danger. Well, I mean, how don't you get that? She doesn't really care for the destruction of a lot of people. She's very
but
she's very, like, complacent.
It's natural selection.
Oh my god. No, she's very complacent towards the possibility of destruction of the world.
Yeah. Well, it's because, like, how she was saying, like, when the village collapsed, she said, some die and some survive. That's just kind of the way it is. I don't think is that a dangerous worldview? Because that's just natural selection, right? Like, the strong survive and the...
Well, the thing about that is that's cultural Darwinism, which Charles Darwin did not agree with,
well,
and which was used to justify some pretty terrible things.
I mean, she's using it to justify some pretty terrible things.
So I don't think that's a justification.
I'm just saying
that may be her justification.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That is her justification.
You just seem a little between your.
I'm too eager. I'm too eager to be like
between you finding Adam the rapist murderer hot. I mean,
okay, we don't know if he's
between the creepy murderer hot and being perfectly okay with Darwinism. I'm worried that you're slowly becoming into a villain that is
probably killed people too. Okay.
Becoming a villain that is no way physically able to become a proper villain.
Anyway, I think, I don't know, to some extent I'm like, yeah, Raven, I mean, she's kind of right. Like, she grew up in this tribe where they needed to kill people to survive, and that's just what you gotta do, man. Like, you gotta live. You know? Like, I wouldn't, like, in our modern day society, that doesn't make any sense, but there are lots of dystopian kind of, forms of media which have that kind of dog-eat-dog. If we were in a zombie apocalypse, Hunter, would you be concerned about, like, killing people all of a sudden? You know what I mean?
I'd be slightly
like,
less.
to live. Like, I'm sure you wouldn't be, like, enthusiastic about it.
I'm of the opinion that you're probably stronger together and that they could, I don't know, like, they organize the way they organize not because it's the best way possible, but it's the way they do it. And I think there's other ways of, managing, like, I think Beacon
I mean, obviously, it's not, because Beacon wasn't strong. Beacon fell. Meanwhile, Raven and her killing tribe is still fine.
Maybe if the killing tribe helped out, they'd be better off. You see, if people didn't live like that, if people organized in a way.
Also, there's something else about that, is that Raven seemed to say like, they said something, about her, like, being there at the night Beacon fell.
Mm-hmm.
Because she said she didn't know that there were gonna be that many Grimm. Oh, wait,
Did
but
she?
maybe she was talking about the town. Like, she
Maybe.
would have never known.
Yeah, no, she wasn't talking about Beacon. She was talking about
I
the
thought
town.
she was talking about Beacon for a minute.
For all we know, she wasn't necessarily at Beacon.
But yeah. And she does seem to know that Yang's arm got cut off somehow. But what I find interesting is that she still has a white fang mask. Unless her tribe just also has that mask for some reason. Like if Adam just kind of, you know, took it from something. But, I mean, I don't really know. I guess we'll find out, right?
I mean, to be fair, not all that I guess. It's just a Grimm mask. I don't think she's necessarily aligned with the White Fang.
But
terribly.
it looked like the Grimm mask that the normal White Fang members wear and the one that Adam wears.
Yeah.
Like, hers is
different.
more similar to Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Also, where is Neo? Like, oh my god. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much done covering the episode except for, like, Yang is wearing her metal arm at the end. But we already said that.
Presumably she's gonna start training again.
But yeah, Raven's here, and Raven and Neo had a thing once. So where is she?
What do you mean Raven and Neo had a...
had
What
a
kind
thing.
of bullshit headcanon is that?
Not like a romantic thing. I mean, like, Neo seemed to know who she was because Neo saw her eyes went white, and she dis-a-fucking-peared instead of killing Yang.
Well,
That's what I mean.
To be fair,
their stories seem to be intertwined
To be
somehow.
fair, a woman with a giant dust katana, like, teleported into a room, tried to kill her, and then teleported out. I think that's a perfectly reasonable response to that.
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
If a man teleported into this room with a shotgun, shot me, and disappeared, you would probably look a similar, like, variety of stunned.
As
Neo. Yeah, so I mean,
I guess, but, like, at the same time, Neo's kind of, like, a badass, so if I had, like, a gun, too, then maybe I wouldn't be as scared.
No, I think...
Anyway, I thought that Raven and Neo's stories were, like, together.
I mean, they probably know of each other.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And so,
I don't think they have a... But the way you said they have a thing is like,
I didn't
no.
mean a thing! Like,
But you said a thing!
I know,
Words mean things, Cal! That's a thing that happens!
I didn't mean a romantic thing or, like, an intimate thing. I just meant that they had a thing! A thing is just... a thing doesn't have
words
a definition.
mean things! Anyways.
Anyway, final thoughts,
So,
please.
Neo still... I really enjoyed that.
I did too. I like Raven's personality because she takes a lot of what her enemies do or say, like Crow, and throws it back at them in a very creative and snarky sort of way. It's just how I basically imagined she would be. And she's also very sophisticated as well, like in her.
Is she?
Not as much as Salem. Like, as Salem and Cinder, as a comparison, like, they are kind of like visions of villainy grace. But she's kind of... she's well-spoken is what I mean. Maybe not graceful, but she, like, how she speaks to Crow, it isn't rude. Like, it's kind of like niceness disguised. Like, her voice sounds nice,
I think what
but,
you might be
she,
looking for is confidence. She has a certain degree of confidence.
No, not exactly. I mean that, like, when she talks to Crow, she isn't being rude to him in what he's saying. Like, she's calm and she has this sort of way about speaking.
Confidence, I'd say.
Yeah, so maybe confidence, but, like, I don't know. There's also kind of an elegance there, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, Salem and Cinder are the most elegant villains in the show, but then Raven kind of has a different sort of, like, again, like, elegance, confidence mixture going on where she's also could, like, kick your ass. I'm sure Salem could kick your ass, but Cinder and Salem show their grace and like how they dress and how they walk and things, but she just speaks well.
Fair enough.
But yeah, other things?
I really enjoyed, this entire episode is going to be very much so painted by really the Crow dress story, and then having Crow and
Crow in a skirt.
Crow and Raven's interaction.
And I mean, it sounds like that Raven wasn't such a a hard ass. You know what I mean? Like, she like.
What the hell is wrong with you?
In like high school.
Okay.
In high school, I'm saying, like, when she was...
They didn't mention anything about her.
No, hold on, it's not done yet.
They talk about her being, like, hardcore and crazy, so if anything...
It's because somehow Tai Yang won her heart.
Well,
That's
clearly
why.
not, because
okay,
she ditched,
for,
but...
like, five seconds. No, I mean, like, obviously, like, there was he fucked her, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So in high school, obviously, like, something happened.
Fair
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I mean by, we know that she wasn't such a hard ass, because now she's kind of tired and, like, I don't have time for this shit. Like, sort of like Crow.
Mm-hmm.
But as kids, they all seemed very
They are very similar to each other.
Yeah.
It's just that I think
they show it in different ways.
Yeah, I think
Crow
that
is very snarky, and he's like a hard character. Not even
that.
Like that.
They're similar in their okay, they're similar in how they're similar in vision.
Yeah.
Or they're similar in execution, but different in vision.
Because they do execute lines the same way to an extent.
Or
like,
just
there's
how they
still that kind of
or their
like,
lone wolf mentality,
yeah.
or they're giving shit to people.
But
like,
really, they're different.
Not trusting authority figures, but they're different in that
Crow
clearly cares about people.
Yeah.
Where.
But I mean, like, in their way of speaking, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, like, Crow is very straightforward about things, I think. Like, he's just like. Remember, like, in the scene with Winder, he's like, well, fuck you too. And Raven's just kind of not like that. Like, she's she's different in how she speaks than Crow. Crow is very blunt, and she's not as blunt, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
She's, like, obviously she's a blunt force, but it's in a different way. Again, it's that kind of, like, smooth, like, confident sort of thing that she has going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I think we're excited for next episode. I guess Weiss and Blake are gonna be featured next if we're, like, rotating in this weird, like, spinny circle that we have going on.
At this point, I think the spinny circle
It's basically anybody's guess, guys, of who's...
I think we might see Tyrion next.
I would like to see Blake.
Or,
I would like to see Blake. Blake needs her own show. I'm just saying.
Or even better, the, what's it called? The real White Fang leader?
I think Yang is going away soon. Like, she's gonna run off or whatever.
I don't know.
And so hopefully all of the girls get back into one storyline. Like, not anytime soon, but maybe in the next, like, 5 episodes. How many episodes are being produced? Do we know?
If it's going to be anything like the other season, probably like 13 or 12. I think there was 14 in season 3.
How about 24? But yeah, okay, so that's basically the end of our video. Hunter and I yelled at each other a little bit, but that's okay, because you guys seem to be entertained by that. So if you like this video, remember to give it a like and share it with your friends. If we were wrong about anything, we're sorry, we probably didn't mean to be. I say things sometimes and they sound okay in my head, but then out loud they don't sound as nice. But I always will reply back to you, and I will clarify what exactly I meant. And I usually reply for Hunter as well.
Yeah, if you ever see her talk about me, that's not actually me.
I mean, that's just what I assume that you would probably say.
But I think you may assume wrong on a couple cases. Although I don't actually, I
usually do reply for the both of us, because, like, even for our fanfiction, for our shipping video, that you guys might have seen, somebody, commented about, like, what Hunter and I ship, and I said, well, I think Hunter and I are in agreement that this Hunter didn't, like, proofread that at all. Like, I just guessed that is what Hunter would say.
What did you say? About me?
No,
I need to clarify this shit.
They asked about what our favorite chips were.
And what did you say?
And so I said that I said something along the lines of, I think Hunter can agree that there are some good, like, straight ships and some really good gay ships. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
fair enough.
And so I was like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, I usually will comment back to you. If you guys want to play Grim Eclipse with me, I have lots of spots left. You can only have 20 people in your friend list on I can't talk anymore, on Steam, and I think that's bullshit. But I guess I might just delete some people. I haven't gotten anywhere near to 200, so if you guys want to still play with me, that's cool. And I hope that we can get back to video games soon, because if you guys, like, came to my channel and were like, what other videos did she do? Oh, there's all these shitty Japanese visual novels. Like, that's usually what I play. I want to get those uploaded during the week. They won't conflict with the RWBY stuff at all. And I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy that. I think our next game is probably going to be Undertale. Because we gotta play that.
Good.
Huh?
If the gods are good.
If the gods are good, yeah. And so I'm pretty sure that's it. So yeah, guys, please comment on the videos. Like, if you have something to say, if you have a really cool theory, like, I love reading your comments. It just gives me, like, so much joy, and I do read them. I try to read and reply to all of them, and, you can always tweet me as well and be like, Cal, I commented on your video, like, you know, reply to what I say, and I'll be like, sure. And, you can also tweet Hunter as well, and I usually retweet stuff from Hunter, and his Twitter username is stupid. So, my Twitter username is Calxiyn, and his is Eastward Jesus, not now, and I still don't know why. But anyway, guys, so yeah, tweet us, text us, maybe not text, comment, you know, whatever you want, and, this outro has gone on for way too long, so we're gonna go. Okay, bye, guys!